Brad, what happened last time?
Oh shoot, let me
Red,
pull.
what did happen last time before the time skip?
1 second. I put my notes away when I got really involved in this storyline plot. Okay. Um. Well, I think what happened last time is Daniel, of course, was preparing for the other shoe to drop, essentially, as Fiala and Scott were out doing during the festival, having a good time out with House Kairos' situation going on. And like I said, Daniel was had his men all together, things put up, his eyes preparing for the worst when he got a call about, well, a set of soldiers, white serpents, were here, and they wanted to investigate. As they, you did get a chance to prepare, as they got a message beforehand that the white serpents were on the way from north, but not enough time to necessarily save everything they could. As Daniel directed his people to start the process of hiding evidence, making sure there would be nothing left, so they would be caught by what presumably would be a raid from a very much more powerful military power. And of course, while that was going on, he went off to go say hello to these White Serpent's guards as they decide to infiltrate the city, as they believe, as he would tell Daniel, that there was Ixian devices here, and they were here to take care of that essentially. And while they did search the city, they didn't really find much, or they did find the device, but they didn't find anything that linked House Alos to them, as they would find the people who had them either their throat slits or anyone with information dead or gone or disappeared, essentially, as all his men worked overtime to cover their tracks as best they could. Losing a bit of resources, yes, but in the end, keeping it so House Alos didn't go under as this whole thing was taking place. As not only them, but a few other houses were raided as well. As well, Scott, Fiala, Alexei, and our new lovely compatriot Janik, the Guinness swordsman that Scott had got from the festival as well, made their way back into a much more tense atmosphere as they would explain from Daniel that a raid was going on and that they lost a good amount. And now things are even more tense as now well, Zivka came in as well while we were having this conversation and explained, well, that they were denouncing Peter, that he has been caught, and he was apparently the one who had smuggled in the devices in, and that the Molotov company has no connections with him, and we apologize for this inconvenience. Basically, showing that we've lost a big ally essentially, and along with that, the news that Fiala would give Daniel that Lord Draco Flavius or Flavius Draco is a face dancer, making it a much more precarious situation. And Daniel is, of course, rightfully upset about this, as this has now been a big upset for him, essentially. Uh, there was a bit of getting everything prepared, as now with this information, Scott sat down with his lovely wife and explained exactly what was going on with the face dances and things like that, and as well as with Janek too, because his job now is to protect the house and, well, whoever he's assigned to, which was originally going to be, I believe, Scott, if I remember correctly. No, Daniel, while Scott had his wife, who was a good swordsman as well. Uh, as well, Fiala was instructed to reach out to her Reverend Mother and explain the situation, and she did get a address to go to. And reporting back to Daniel, she took Scott with her, as well as they made their way to this remote area, which turned out to be, well, the Red Demon appeared, who was explaining some things to them, essentially that uh, Peter has been captured, essentially, and he's here to make sure things don't go worse than they are. Though Scott did try to debate about what to use Red Demon for, though it's pretty obvious to Fiala that the Red Demon himself is a dangerous man whose only appetite is violence and death, and he even said so himself. So outside of just killing and murder, he's not really much use in that regard. And so we make our way back to Daniel with this information and some more well, news, essentially, to prepare what to do next. As the Bene Gesserit are still part of this, but the Red Demon, it seems to be their answer to or at least what we believe anyway. And we had a meeting with our Cry, or House Nyx, as Damocles had a meeting for us to sit down with a few of our supporters. And I don't believe, was Lady Nyx at the meeting, or was it just Damocles and Hades and Rianne who went?
I think Lady Nix was also part of the meeting.
Okay, I thought so as well. Lady Nyx, as well as there, and a surprise guest from House Kairos, Rianne, who, well, we sat down and talked, and everyone there explained that they are all part of this essential conspiracy now. That maybe Peter had prepared for this, as he did mention some things to certain individuals about what's could be going down, and this is basically hopefully an answer to deal with a very dire situation. As well, he pulled out. Damocles revealed that he believes his daughter Astrid was a face dancer, as some of the things that she liked or didn't like, just small things you wouldn't notice if you didn't know her, which gave him those moment of doubts. And of course, Rianne revealed some information about the face dancer's unique poison, as well as other information as well, as we all talked, discussed, brainstormed ideas, possibly allies we could use in the future, and hopefully a chance to come up with a plan that involves getting more allies from House Halem, possibly by bringing in the air that has come to our lovely planet, as well as reaching out to Orpheus and other options, of course. But for now, we're starting off small because we don't want our enemies to know that we are aware of what's going on. With the meeting a bit adjourned, there was a bit of conversation between Scott and Rianne, with Rianne somewhat revealing a bit that she is here because she is ward for Peter, and she is well has other reasons to be here, but she's definitely upset about what's been going on. And Daniel, of course, spoke with Damocles and House Hades, oh Hades as well, as everyone seemed to be on the same mindset about what needs to be done, essentially. Though, as the meeting was adjourned, Fiala made it a point to ask Damocles, not Damocles, sorry, asked Daniel if she could get a chance to check in on Alexei, just in case he himself was infested with face dancers. And with Daniel's permission and blessing, she went off to go check with Alexei because she did send him away when he came by to essentially hang out, and was very excited to have a one v one match with our lovely new Guinness swordsman, but we had to send him away once we realized the situation was more dire than we thought. So she had an opportunity to visit him, and when she came by, let's just say there was an attack. Someone attempted to attack Fiala, while she sidestepped enough to get out the way before Alexi got hurt, and it was a bit of a battle before Fiala was able to use her voice, and Alexi was able to essentially kill the assailants and get rid of the body. Well, not get rid of the body, but mostly kill the assailant, essentially. And it ended there with Fiala surprised and happy that Alexei had made it out and kissing him, and hopefully cementing more of Fiala's feelings as the situation has also gotten worse in that regard. And now we are have the grand conspiracy keeping out for enemies that exist, and with our lovely Lord Damocles having the only last Ixian device left, and possibly the safest spot we could have it in. And yeah, I think that's where it ended.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, the XN device will not be taken out of Akrai. You do not want that city is it's a good haven for it, but same time provides a very good base of operations for all of you to maybe like routinely just visit, right? Or like send there anyone you want to kind of like vet first. Although with the time skip activities, it's been like roughly 6 months, more or less. You've been able to see the finalization of the district of the Malenkov district, as you've coined the term, you've named it Nirvana, as these large mega buildings, kind of like mega building towers, filled with all sorts of activities. Some good for the soul, some good for the mind, none of them good for the body, honestly. But listen, the people are happy. It's definitely boosted up your your loyalty. Some people, because well, they just love you so much that you provide such entertainment for them. Others that, well, makes people very easy to blackmail and coerce if they're addicted to drugs, gambling, or they're in crippling debt. So overall, a net
Keeping the
plus.
local economy flowing. Keeping
Yes,
the local economy flowing.
the local economy is indeed flowing. More and more travelers are stopping in Heraklion on the way to Yoreth or Cyrak. It's wonderful. And that kind of like, while you don't get to see direct money from that pleasure district, you definitely see the benefits all around the city as your citizens get more wealthy. There's less squalor. There's like a lot of the like the old abandoned districts. Suddenly there's like spring back to life slowly as people move back in, rebuild, that sort of thing. Of course, with Brick's men maintaining the peace. I'm surprised Brick has lived this long, honestly. No, another miracle from the gods. Other than that, of
I'm gonna
course,
kill him during the. I'm gonna kill him during the last session.
it's like,
Yeah,
fuck you,
and
Brick.
everybody, and they become rulers of the company. And Daniel's first order is to execute Brick.
Just kill him. Get him out of here. What the fuck are you still doing? Um,
Alexei is stripped of land, and Brick is
Daniel,
dead.
literally look at the paperwork. What do you mean we haven't killed him yet? I thought
come.
we killed him like 3 months ago.
No, you said we can't kill anybody at the moment. We can't afford it.
How have I not seen him in the palace?
So he's
You've
been
had
hard
me
at
cut him
work.
out.
He's been hard at work. Um, and well, another surprising project that has definitely been a bit on your minds is the rather interesting new shield generator that provides very useful for protection from any sort of invading force that might try to assault your
I
city.
will. I will say this, by the way.
Hmm?
Anyone in the household who asks, Daniel will straight up tell them, I can't tell you. So if like Scott or Fiala or Dennis asks, Daniel will inform them, I can't tell you.
I'll say this: the shield has definitely caught a lot of people's attention. Unfortunately for you, Daniel, because while most shields are sort of kind of like invisible until something kind of like makes contact or gets approached, this one always has a sort of visible sheen to it. And you especially can see it at night as the whole city kind of like is enveloped in a sort of pinkish purple, kind of like faded and see-through, but at night it's very obvious.
It's very pretty. I'm sure it helps with tourism.
It does. It also is one of the oddities that your city is known for. Of course, a lot of rumors have sprung up. Just gonna make a note. Pink, always visible pink shield.
The answer Daniel will give if anyone does ask about it, because saying I can't tell you is actually really suspicious, it will just be I had to go through some old contacts to get it on the cheap. It's it works properly, but there's some issues with it. Yeah.
Some
Honestly,
kinks in the system.
Orpheus wants your number because this shit looks sick. They're like, how did you? We want one. This looks awesome. Yeah, it might suck for your like military because they can like clearly tell its radius and how much area it covers, and that kind of gives it away. You can't really fool your enemies because you can actually change and tweak the shield settings for that. But my god, doesn't it look beautiful at night? But of course, I feel like Daniel can. It's like, listen, we're also a sort of tourist town now. We're like your competition. We're gonna sell secrets, right? Right, Daniel?
I mean, yeah. Why would I tell you?
Exactly. Um,
You know, listen. Uh, I know people, and unfortunately, they like to. They unfortunately, they're my people.
yeah, no, that's just kind of like looking at what you posted in Discord. That's a good representation of the color spectrum. Um, as other important news, there's a rather large internal celebration as well, the young lady Elias Althea, Scott's wife. Well, she's pregnant, a couple of months in, and well, apparently you doesn't take too long for you to figure out it's a son. Daniel, you're gonna have. Well, is this like it's like a grandnephew? grandkids. I'm just gonna call him a grandkid.
Grandnephew is the official term, but like Scott is a fit, like legally considered like his legal son for the purpose of
Oh,
being an heir. So legally, it's still grandson. Yeah.
yeah. So you'll have grandchildren soon, in less than a year.
How does Daniel feel about that?
Daniel doesn't say anything. There's no obvious change, but there is a slight increase in Daniel's drive that it would be nice if this war started and was over
Mm,
before the delivery.
yeah, it would. We'll see as time does pass. Eventually, uh, Fiala would also get married with, well, Alexi's newfound determination after the discussions. After you finally made him understand what sort of duties does a Bene Gesserit have. At least the ones that you know, which are like the more surface level ones.
Mm.
And after his initial freak out and moment of just pure utter despair, as his almost like fantasy has been shattered to a million pieces, you know what? He took a trip to Heraklion. Maybe you were already there, and when you had this discussion, he took like a day off, and then Fiala he returned with unshakable, an unshakable iron will to make this work and to ensure that you have the life you wish for. Of course, no small part to his best friend Scott, who advised him wisely and made him somewhat rethink, readjust his worldviews. And on the more practical note, you have secured some trade deals that have paid off. Finances of the house are looking stable at the moment. And of course, well, Elios and Hades do control most of the illegal traffic in the spaceport, providing some sort of avenues outside of the planet. Or more importantly, maybe inside, who knows? We'll see. But as the months pass, we eventually get to the month of June, as Damocles' wife has given birth to a baby boy, son by the name of Niklaus.
Aw, good for them.
Congratulations.
We will
Congrats.
we will send them all the love if they don't show up in person.
Well, I mean, you would be invited, of course, if you want to speak. I want to see. Althea's gonna go, so she would appreciate if you all joined her, because you're all like family to her in a way, including Fiala, especially after the trading lessons the two of them had together.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up for her best teacher. Best student I
Listen,
ever
Yeah.
had.
listen, you taught her some fun things, and I got you a husband, so I think we evened out.
Honestly, yeah, Daniel would go with Scott and Athelia, because also Daniel will also appreciate any chance he can to go touch base with Damocles or any of the other members of the conspiracy without looking suspicious.
Yeah, Fiala would go as well.
And I assume we're also going to bring our sword master, right? Is he good to come?
Yeah, well, Janek is a
He is my bodyguard. Can
he
he
is
bodyguard me from halfway across the continent?
he is a very diligent bodyguard. He's not a man of many words, but maybe in this
Perfect for Daniel.
like 6 months, probably you haven't. There's no haven't been any sort of attempted assassinations. But Daniel, you've spent enough time with people to kind of like maybe ascertain a certain level of competence. This man, he's like a 360 motion sensor around you. Like there's nothing that kind of like escapes his attention. He's always on point, always like fast to move, fast to react. Whenever you kind of like spot someone that's approaching, you realize Janik already is looking at them even before you did. The man is in his 60s, he could probably take on anyone in your entire palace with ease.
It's great to hear.
Part of the family.
Part of the family, indeed. Where are my phone notes? My phone. There we go. My phone notes.
Once you join listen, once you join the crew, you are one of Daniel's own, which means you enjoy protection. It's why Daniel was never well. Daniel wasn't close to those smugglers who died, but Kosh will pay for them.
If we can't protect you, we will avenge you.
Oh my goodness. Flashbacks.
Where's the flashbacks there, Red?
No, we're not gonna bring this up.
No, let's bring this up. God's busy.
So, yeah. As you schedule a visit, um, you'll be there as maybe a bit early than everyone else, as well, you get a bit of a short notice. And question is, it's usually nice to bring gifts at these sort of events. Would you make like a gift from your house, kind of like as a
It's only fitting. It's fitting, yes.
no, what would that gift be for from the Elias house?
There's that law that's put in place that still stops like weapons from being brought onto the world, right?
It's not that it stops them; they're just being purchased by Draco,
Could we have Kiz create something?
probably.
Daniel, would you be fine with that?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Daniel getting a specialized, I guess we could
Just like
call
a.
it a piece of equipment for the House of Assassins. Yeah.
Would
A dagger
you?
for when they grow up.
You know what, Daniel? You could make a scimitar, right? You could have like a very fancy, but if you were a skilled negotiator, one could say, you might be able to procure some metal from House Alkindis to make the scimitar like have this wavy motion to it. The metal itself, the pattern on it, just kind of like ever so shifting. If you want to like distinguish yourself, because not everyone can like have both his craftsmanship and Alkindis metalwork.
You are correct. I could do that. What would the role be?
That's could be a communicate role. Negotiation would apply. It's just a difficulty too.
Communicate, power, negotiation. Let's go for it. Roll.
That's one momentum.
Okay.
One momentum and 7 threat.
Oh,
Oh, that's the normal amount that we usually sit at.
yeah. Just no more. Otherwise, our buildings are going to start blowing
It took 15 seconds for the building to blow up.
up.
And since Fiala's going, Alexi is also. He also wants to. He wants to go everywhere. Honestly, like, he's just happy to be invited.
Is he just a guest at our house? Is he just staying there?
Honestly, he does frequently visit you. Maybe more than you would like.
Listen, he's allowed to visit, but every so often Daniel will instruct him to not neglect his duties, the duties to his own house.
He's there like he's like, I would say he is at your and he's in Heraklion 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. So he would go back every now and then, but he's mostly at your place. Unofficial
honestly,
member of the household.
Honestly, that fits. At the end of the 2 weeks, Daniel does just straight up tell him, go and handle the business of your house before you get dethroned.
So yeah,
Do we just put him on the payroll at this point?
No, because he has money. It's fine. He may be less wise with spending it, but Listen, I'm not sure if
Um,
Fiala would accept his like kind of like gifts. You like change maybe some of your dress style and stuff like that, but it's up to you.
Think, like I said, Fiala is someone who is, yeah, I think she would, honestly. I can see her being that way.
All I'm saying is I don't need to seem to pay him unless you want to sponsor Fiala's wardrobe and you know lifestyle more or less.
I think the company's still still taking care of that
yeah.
regard, right?
Well, the
And
company is like just cover like basic expenses, right? Like living expensive. Like Vodnik is just kind of like it's like here's a gift, here's another gift. Hey, I found this bouquet of flowers that I handpicked from the garden for you. This lovely dress that I bought that I when I saw it I thought of you. The red just
I
reminded me of the passion I feel for you and stuff like that.
I think Fiala would always love the gifts, but she would have to sit down and like, you need to, well, if we want to be a family together, you need to make sure we have funds and things that to make sure our future is secure. So way to like, hey, just be a little bit mindful what you're spending. I love the gifts. I'm not gonna say no, but we're in this together. We gotta make sure we can build a future together. So
That's true. Listen, it's fine. He has money. It's okay. He'll
Um,
just
listen. Some people build shield generators. Other people just buy clothes. Imagine how many clothes you can buy with like one shield generator.
Um, Listen, unfortunately, despite how much Daniel doesn't like it, Alexi might as well be under his protection.
oh,
But yeah,
Daniel wishes he wasn't, but he is.
um, as we transition to the live scene, as you've just landed in the city of Accra, as there's a kind of like a large vehicle that will pick you up from the shuttle port. Um, and as you all kind of travel, you realize as you're kind of like waiting for the vehicles to arrive to escort you through the city. Well, Daniel, of course, the gift you know what you've made. It's a wonderful work of craftsmanship. I'll actually roll for them. It's like how good is it from a scale of 1 to 10? Because I'm curious. Because she has like okay stats. Let's see. Dice roll. There we go. Okay. Yeah. No. It's um. It's a three successes scimitar. It's a wonderful work of craftsmanship. It's very beautiful. Can combine with the ornate metal. You realize like the metal is not just on the blade. They've also incorporated some of the living alloy on the pommel, on the guard. It's everything is just kind of like flowing. It gives like and the patterns aren't they've managed to like uh kind of like craft the alloy in such a way that unlike some of the more I don't want to call them standard because every piece made from this is rather impressive, but the more standard pieces of work from the Damascus steel, the pattern is kind of like random almost. It's not like a very unified shape. It's very hard to like control its movement. But Housekiss has managed to do this, and everything from the blade, it seems like it's kind of like almost a dripping motion towards the tip. It's a very like artistic thing. Kind of like adds to its uniqueness, I would say. And
Daniel's
this,
actually really conflicted about it. Because on one hand, it's the kind of extravagance he usually really does not like. On the other hand, it does genuinely look amazing.
yeah, and well, what is everyone's expectation that Alexi will bring as a gift?
mm,
mm,
Alexi goes above and beyond.
Something extravagantly stupid.
It's gonna be like a baby cradle of 10 wealth.
Oh no.
Who you're all surprised, except even probably Fiala. What Fiala? What do you think, Alexi?
I'm gonna be honest. One of the things that Fiala likes about Alexis is she can never be properly prepared for what he does. So she is always gonna be open-minded about this whole thing. Whatever it
Yeah,
is, she's gonna enjoy it.
you seem like kind of he like comes down because he probably didn't travel with you this time. But you can like see him,
Mm.
right? He doesn't have anyone with him. He always carries his own things. So he's like walking off with his bags. You do see he has like a box, very like ornate, kind of like made out of wood, but very simple. It's not tacky. It doesn't have any sort of things. It's just carved in a very simplistic style. And he like carries it underneath his arm while he struggles with the other bag. He's like walking towards your group,
uh,
waving.
I
Fiala's
would
gonna
help
help
him.
him. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come here rocking with an entourage. He's like alone. He doesn't have bodyguards. Nobody in his household really respects him to this point. He's like, ah, well, please just die,
No-
Alexis, so we can properly manage the funds of this house.
Nope.
Doesn't
How about
inspire
this?
that much respect and loyalty in his people.
How dare? How dare they kill their lord?
Spends most of the time at you. He might as well just be your proxy. I'm sure Daniel will
Uh,
fix that in the future. Um, Daniel is just slowly, honestly becoming Tywin Lannister for me. It's just like
He is.
gathering these like children is like just sitting behind them menacing and like while teaching them how to like properly wield power.
I just
Uh,
hope we don't disappoint him as badly as Tywin's
Daniel,
kids did.
listen, I've maintained it. It's one constant of Daniel's character is he'd rather have competent partners than incompetent puppets.
well, yeah. So you see Alexei with the wooden box. Nothing else is as you're waiting for the vehicles.
We go to help him with his bags.
Yeah.
We can't watch
yeah.
this man struggle.
Thank you, thank you. I see you got here a bit early. Oh, careful with the box. That's the gift for the Nixes. Don't damage it.
With a fucking bomb in it.
It's
Is
very
it what's
fragile.
inside of it? What is like the box is fragile or what's inside?
I I mean what's inside as well, but it's not that sturdy. Don't drop it on the floor, please.
All right, I won't. What is it though?
If you like pick it up, Scott, it's quite light. It's not, and I assume you don't like
Alex.
start shaking it, stuff like that.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking Alexi, what is it?
He like smirks and says that's a surprise.
Uh-huh.
Looks very proud at himself.
Alexi.
Well,
This
my
is this is
no,
something that's gonna make me question our friendship, right?
Lord Scott, come now. Alexi has never failed you before. Have some
He
faith.
did let somebody into their sanctuary.
Okay, but see that's why I thought this is a lesson in humility for me.
It's a Nixian device.
Oh my god, it's a pipe.
It's a hunter seeker just pops out of the box. Yep, just kills you. It's like damn.
Do not worry, my love. I'm sure that Lady Nyx will appreciate your gift.
I don't think she will, but it's not a gift for her. It's a gift for her son. So I think he will appreciate
Yes.
It's just a nook.
it. As the vehicles will eventually arrive and get in, being driven through the city. And so, unlike some other people, you will not be kidnapped and threatened. So your ride is much smoother. And well, eventually you reach your destination as you arrive at the noble residence of House Nyx, walking inside this maze-like building, escorted by the guards, and as they kind of like lead you to the main lobby area, as the house family members are there to greet you, as Althea just excitedly actually like rushes to like hug her mom, and Damocles is also there, like kind of like as the two women hug, you see him holding the baby. It's kind of like just very small thing, just kind of like wrapped up in cloth, just with like the neck symbol kind of like embroidered onto it. The other daughters kind of like off to the side as they all say their greetings as you present yourselves. Who wants
Well,
to?
1 second.
I was gonna say.
Uh, s- I think Fiala would do the proper thing of like bowing and congratulating them, of course, for the new addition.
Anicia
Yeah,
actually smiles and thanks you for that, and Damocles is also seemingly happy at this moment in time.
Oh.
for now.
Yeah, it's almost like a secret war of assassins is not happening on the planet.
It's almost like, somebody has just replaced the daughter he lost. Uh,
Okay, let's not go be that dark, okay? Honey, I've made
well,
another one. It's fine. Don't
no,
worry.
no, but like somebody literally replaced the daughter he lost. And then,
That's true. That is true, but
wow, Grunt, way to be real dark about it for no reason. Kind of
mm,
weird.
A
just my
That-
stronger child, one that will survive.
that's that's just how my brain works.
uh, but yeah, Scott will also go up and greet them and congratulate them on their new child. A little bit more casual, friendly manner.
Yeah, they will of course thank you for that. Who presents your gifts though?
Well, say Daniel coming up last, giving them the congratulations, would present the gift to Lady Nix.
Yeah, and as you kind of like unwrap the blade to kind of just showcase drawing, even the scabbard has like a different pattern. It kind of like flows in a different direction. It's kind of like more of a circular pattern as you do draw the blade slightly as like you present it to her, and all of them. Damocles is not as interested as you might have expected, but the women's side of House Nyx, they're just kind of like the eyes are gleaming, right? Like this is truly a beautiful gift. As she'll like take the blade and just kind of like inspect it and kind of like give it like a couple of swings and just eventually kind of like returns it back. We put it in the scabbard. And as she like takes it off your hands, says, "Truly a wonderful gift. Thank you, my lord. I shall make sure he learns to use it from an early age."
Quite.
I didn't hear what you said.
Ah, you are quite well.
And she'll smile and or she'll kind of like put it off. There's like a sort of stand that kind of has been made. There's like a couple of other blades there, probably from some of the other members that kind of like as a gift, but yours clearly gets like put on a sort of pedestal, almost like a stand actually, as a sort of a front piece. And then walks Alexei with his little wooden box, and he just kind of like stands there looking smug almost, as everyone's kind of like looking at you and says, "For the young kid, I think he might enjoy these when as he grows up. I sure I did." And he kind of like opens up the lid,
God,
and there's just a book. Looks a very ragged, very used, very worn book.
I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm.
Says on the like the you kind of like notice as actually Damocles puts the baby into Anicia's and he'll actually take the book. And as he like picks it up, you can see that kind of like on the side you can read King Arthur and the Round Knights of the Round Table.
Ooh, that must be I assume that's like valuable because something like it's an old book, right? So that must be really
Not as it's not that
uh
it's old, because there are other old
uh
books. This is you realize this is a it's a very worn book. Like somebody has read this again and again and again, and well, like you can see like the corners are flipped. It's still holding well, but it's clearly been read through many a times, many a nights, where you would, for example, a young kid would just kind of like sit with his elbows, just kind of like propping it wide open and just reading through it.
For a kid, bedtime stories and whatnot, that is not the worst gift. I was expecting something way worse.
And
I think Fiala has a smile on her face. I think she understands how much with the scenes.
um, Damocles just kind of like seems to get the same memo. He like smiles. The women are just kind of like looking at it, slightly confused. There's like there. I would say this without you needing to roll, because I think you'll have decent discipline, right? You have like
Mm.
well, maybe not Scott. Oh,
No,
Scott, no, Scott, you have good understand. Never mind. You compensate. You all three realize that the women are just kind of like nodding and smiling in a sort of like rehearsed way, almost in just like a time delay between them, but it kind of like makes it look like it's like a practice routine. They're basically faking it, as just kind of like smiling and nodding at Alexi. Alexi, of course, doesn't notice this. He's like Damocles kind of like has his attention as he like takes the book, puts it next to the other gifts, and says, "Thank you, thank you, my lord. So I can tell that this meant a lot to you." And Alexi nods and says, "This is the book I think I read the most as I grew up until quite recently. I'm ashamed to say. I don't think I will be needing it anymore, and if it can inspire the future generation, I think this is the best place it can be." As yeah, Damocles nods, thanks him for his gift. As Anisia will say, "Well, I think we can enjoy a family dinner if you will have some of the guards just take your things to your rooms, and we'll reconvene in an hour if that works for everyone." As,
Fiala nods and bows.
yeah, you're all led to your own rooms. Of course, Scott, at this point, Scott, you don't have a guest room. You have a family dormitory, which I'm not sure if this is worse or better, or even if you're gonna take the guest room, because the guest rooms are made for non-initiates, i.e., the rooms aren't just made to freak you the fuck out.
uh-huh.
So would you take the family normal room, or do you go with the guest room?
Do they see me as part of the family?
I mean,
Then
yeah,
if then if I'm respected enough, I will take the regular room.
yeah.
I've been
The bed is tilted, everything is out of place, nothing is uniform. Some parts are smaller and some parts are intentionally bigger. There's little protrusions that make things uncomfortable. And then there's this little beeping noise that never shuts the fuck up.
Daniel would kill himself.
I don't know. I'm with Althea at the moment, right?
Yeah, she sleeps in the same room as you.
Yeah. Why the beeping?
What beeping?
Okay. That explains everything. All right. How are
Oh,
you?
she kind of like chuckles. We're trained to ignore that at a very young age. I don't even hear it anymore.
All right. How are you feeling?
Honestly, quite excited. It's wonderful. I get a chance to spend some time with mom again, and they look happy, and I don't know. They just and she kind of like grabs your hand and says, "Makes me feel happy about us, you know."
I do. Neil like kisses her forehead.
Yeah, she's gonna like hug you, very tight embrace. As yeah, you kind of like sit down, and as you start, like you kind of like unpack. She like looks around the room and says, "Ah, it's so nice of them." Uh, Almost like to herself.
What's so nice, dear?
They made the room so comfortable for me. As you like realize, you sit down and like one of the beds like has like almost like a unsharpened spike, like kind of like protruding out of a part of it.
Dear, your happiness is all I need.
She smiles and says, "And yours, mine."
Hmm. All right. Well, we have a little time. Is there anything you would like to do before dinner?
I can think of a few things. As we will switch scenes to someone else. Um, I'm not sure if Daniel, as you walk with Alexi and Fiala towards the guest room, if any of you have any sort of remarks towards the young man, towards Alexi.
Daniel actually has no remarks because Daniel like Daniel understands on some level this was an important thing sentimental from him that he gave, but Daniel doesn't really understand the value of it, so there's no comments from him. He clearly understands there's a value to it. He doesn't understand, but that doesn't mean there's no value.
You can give me if you want, or if you want, you can either give me a discipline or an understand roll. I would say the difficulty is 2 for this one.
Can I
You
apply deductive reasoning?
actually, yeah. And you do have 1 momentum if you want to spend it.
It'd be really funny, so I'm gonna spend that momentum.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
two
2
successes.
successes. Daniel, you realize the words he said at the end, they had a clear double meaning. Because for him, this was an important book, not just like growing up, but shaping him. But he clearly was severely attached to this. And yet he said, until very recently. Now, what event happened very recently for Alexei? That's right, he married Fiala, which you don't really know how that went off. Um, but you do gain the sensation that maybe Alexei is not as naive as he once used to be. And giving that book away may symbolize more to him than just, hey, I this impacted me as a young man, so I'm gonna give it to you. That's one part of him becoming a much more I would say mature, but you can probably phrase it differently. But the idea is he's definitely changed after marrying Fiala. And there's another part, that sentence he said, that kind of like got your attention, and that's the part of inspire a new generation for the future. That sounded to you, you understand it as a he is now inspired. So there's a combination of I've gained new understanding for how the world works. I accepted it. I realized that to move on from the past. I need to give up the fairy tale. But that does not mean I am not still inspired, and I will not aspire actually to achieve my dreams. I will take these lessons to heart and use them for the future without being tied into the past.
Daniel can appreciate that.
So yeah,
I don't think Daniel will comment on it, but Daniel appreciates that. Yeah.
and as you head for your own room, Daniel, Fiala and Alexei would walk, and there's as the door kind of like closes behind you. He kind of like turns to you and just kind of like has a, just kind of like a almost relieved. This was clearly a very emotionally stressing moment for him. He feels like he is just kind of like relaxing now. He was like very tense.
I think Fiala has like not necessarily a sad smile, but she like goes up to him. It's just like, "Uh, my very brave knight. How are you feeling?"
Ah, I honestly didn't think I could do it without bursting into tears. Phew, that would have been embarrassing.
"Ah, are you sure that was what you wanted to do then?
I, when you told me about your duties and the Bene Gesserit and everything before we got married, I took it really harshly. So I had a conversation with Scott at the time, and it helped me realize a few things about the world. And I think it's time to let the stories go, but keep the lessons on. And honestly, this world is much bleaker and much darker than even some of these books and fairy tales made it out to be. But there has to be something more. There has to be. This can't just be it. Us bowing down to those who are more powerful and who abuse their connections and resources and weapons that they manipulate and lie and cheat. This has to be more to life than bowing down to these people. No?
Yes, I think so. And that attitude right there is why I love you so much. Never forget the light that you have, Alexi. It, it brightens the world so beautifully.
He actually smiles and says, I will. I will. I will make this a world and we can both be happy.
I like that.
And he'll just kind of like give you a kiss.
She will kiss him back too.
It's not the edge lord we wanted, but it's the edge lord we deserve, I guess. How do we call this one? A happy lord, a hopeful
A
lord.
hopeful lord.
One of the terms I heard online, it was in a review of the Witcher books called Care Lord, where uh, Geralt never stops being an edgy little boy, but he does learn, but he does deeply care about people, the suffering of his friends and people around him.
I like that term, care lord. Yeah, that sounds good. As yeah, well, you all kind of get ready and attend a lovely little family dinner. Um, at which, well, I think most people at this table, with the exception of Alexi, are in the know with the conspiracy. So, if there's any moment you want to maybe grab someone to the side and discuss more conspiratorial things, now would be the good opportunity.
Yeah, I would. Daniel would take Damocles a bit to the side and simply inform him that I suppose if the worst comes to worst, he and Dorian control the spaceport. There are all ways out for people if the worst comes to worst.
Yeah. He nods. He'll say that Lord Hades will be here tomorrow as well, and with news of the infiltration missions into House Charybdis.
Hopefully that news will be good as that, as good as other endeavors.
He like nods, but says, "But I will ask you if you can tomorrow after the meeting with well, the council. I don't know how should we call us. I don't think we ever came up with an official name, but I think it would be good for you to leave. Too many members here at once will draw suspicion, and my daughter and her house are will also be visiting soon.
We can't. Yes, we can't risk having everyone at the same spot.
I acknowledge and says, "Thank you for your understanding. From my understanding, from my letters with Rianne, it does seem like my daughter and the Helheim boy are getting along.
It's good to hear. We will we'll have to. I'll have to work with your. I just jog my memory. It was the houseman cat, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
I'll have to start working with your mentat to create a suitable insult that can be pinned on our adversaries.
he like sighs and says, "Well, I discussed this with Dorian, and I assume you realize this as well that they have to marry for the Helheims to be properly dragged into this. Has to be something big and scandalous. And if they're not married, they might decide there is a chance. Of course, there's a chance they might respond, but given the distaste they have for the young man, they might just decide to pull him out and, well, not really react properly. Unless, well, there's the other option where he dies in a rather, well, a very, very incriminating way to House Draco. At which point, that's a slight I don't think anyone can just ignore, otherwise they will look weak.
There's a nod from Daniel. If it comes to that, I will take that. I will take that burden alone. But let us explore other options first.
Well, I will get the chance to meet the man, and I'll do what dads do best.
There is a feigned smile from Daniel because Daniel does not know.
Yeah. But yeah, if there's anything else, kind of like resume dinner as well, things are flow naturally in the conversation at this point. I feel like Alexi's the only outlier in this whole table, so the rest of you are getting well along and well, very well acquainted with each other at this point. Anyone else want to have any side conversation? Listen,
Mm,
Mac, he doesn't know yet. That's in the future. Doesn't know how bad he'll take it.
mm, mm.
Listen, Daniel has said it. If he has to, he'll take that burden alone. Nobody else has to dirty their hands.
Yeah.
When you say alone, do you mean us, our house as a whole, or you as a?
He does. He means the house. He means the house Alios will take it onto their shoulders.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I guess just small talk. I would probably try to talk with my mother-in-law and see how she's doing with the baby and stuff.
Yeah. No, it's been a bit of a hard process, but it was like the child was a surprise to everyone, but it was a very welcomed and pleasant surprise. But it's a healthy boy, and right now there are no like complications of any nature. Everything's kind of like flowing smoothly.
I assume she already knows about her daughter's pregnancy.
Absolutely. That immediately like when she was pregnant, she would have told everyone. So
Alright. It's,
that's why I said
are
like
you
you are part of the family at this point. Like that's
are you excited to be a grandmother?
Anicia is like, of course. I love all my daughters and everything that's connected to them, grandkids included.
Oh,
Although I wanted to ask about his upbringing, but I was told that that would be rude and a bit too pushy, so I'll hold
he
off.
smiles. He says, "Well, your family, and I don't think if you have any worries about your grandchildren, I don't think you should have any worry about coming to me and asking. So, what do you have? What did you? What were you questioning?
Would you accept a permanent invitation as he grows up to live here?
Well, I will tell you this. Uh,
Of
that
course, he
he
still
will
can
be.
visit, and you can still. It's not like you will be tied, but I would like for this for I would like for your child to be raised in a similar manner, benefit from all the education that House Nix provides its members.
Well, what I was originally thinking is, he would be receiving sword training very early on from your daughter and our sword master, the finest education in rhetoric, and absolutely would be. I would never dream of excluding your family's education to hopefully give him a rounded education. Uh, will absolutely talk about this in the future, and I do not see any reason not to have him trained in your ways since it has benefited your daughter. I would just hope to expand his education to round him out as you've done with your daughters with their training in the with Damocles's
Ah,
daughter's college.
I find that very reasonable. We can have all sorts of facilities built in the city. Um, it's just that people who grow up here tend to, it's a place you never forget, and you can always retreat back home. The city always welcomes its own.
Uh, there's a moment where like Scott's never really had a home other than his town. He's not ever been really tied to a place. He's like, yeah, I guess that would be nice. But truly, we will talk about it further. I'm sure your daughter will convince me. She seems to have my number.
As I don't know, definitely, this will be the true powerhouse. Oh, God. Now we just need to add House Revenum and everything will be fucking smooth. Um, yeah.
This kid, I swear. Can you imagine? Hey, Betty Jesuit, start teaching him the voice too if you're at it.
Yeah, it's a sure way to die young.
Yeah,
You never
right.
get past the age of 10. Um, but yeah, no. Um, anyone else want to have any sort of other conversations?
I think Fiala's just hanging out with her husband. We're all having a good time. I'm happy. This is beautiful.
Yeah. As yeah, eventually the dinner does end as it's a very you've never seen honestly for all of you, you've never seen house Knicks with like like an actual joyous atmosphere. And not in the sort of party mood, but just in the everyone seems happy and there's almost almost a warm and cozy feeling that sprouts up in this at this dinner table. As you sit down and you realize that this family of absolute psychopaths and murderers and maniacs do truly care for each other deeply.
Oh.
Um,
God, how do you fuck it up?
Mhm.
listen, it's fine. As everyone goes to their rooms, Fiona, as you go to sleep,
Mm.
eventually you're kind of like retiring and head off to sleep. You almost like instinctively awaken. Something is wrong as you glance around the room and you realize there's a man standing at the edge of your bed, completely, his face completely concealed by the mask he's wearing. And he just kind of like raises his like finger to kind of like where his lips would have been as you realize Alexi's
Fiala,
kind of like sleeping next to you.
yeah. Fiala kind of like narrows her eyes, but she doesn't. She just nods.
As he like walks to the balcony.
You will carefully step out to follow suit.
As you step out and kind of close the doors behind you, just, he'll turn back and says, "Timetables have sped up. Inform your masters about this. Things are about to escalate and they need to accelerate their plans.
What is the timetable and what does the timetable look like, sir?
I'll give you 6 months, you whore."
Oh, isn't that lovely? Please come with something a little bit more original, sir. I would rather not waste both our times with
The only
insults.
reason I'm not slicing your throat right here is because your mother ordered me to not do that. Nay,
I do
begged
appreciate
me not to do that.
I do appreciate your restraint in that regard. I get to see that you're not entirely like a mad dog.
Let your master know.
I'll make
And
sure he is aware.
and yeah, he nods and kind of like you see him kind of like lower himself. He like kind of like hatches like not hatches but like what's the word? Latches latches a hook onto the balcony's edge and like lowers himself down, kind of like disappearing from sight quickly.
What a lovely night. She will go back to her, back into the room, closing the balcony.
Alexi kind
she,
of like he's like kind of like he like see he like walked down. It's like Fiala, something wrong?
Ah, no, just a bit of fresh air. An odd dream I think I had. It's all right, dear.
Well, you know what they say, there's wisdom to be gained even in our dreams.
That is true. Quite a wise insight my husband has as she lays back down. Snuggles back into the blankets.
Yeah. And well, the next day, the conspiracy board is gathered as event Dorian Hades has arrived as well to discuss before you leave, and you'll probably not get another chance at such a great excuse too soon.
Hmm.
And well, that's a good question. Would Fiala inform Daniel before the meeting or during the meeting?
I think she would inform Daniel first.
Yeah.
He is by for her first employee, so she would make sure to inform him.
So yeah, you meet with Daniel like a bit before the meeting, because the meeting will happen early in the morning.
Ah, Lord Daniel, I have some news.
What is it? Which?
It seems we had another visit from our mysterious friend. He has informed me that our timetable has moved up, accelerated.
What are we looking at?
Did he tell the exact time like he did for Rihanna, or was it just
No, he just said things need to be moved faster. Um, I don't think did I say a couple of months?
for Rihanna? He said 6 months. Well, 6 months, and
I
then
know what he
Damocles told her
said,
like get married with.
but
Hmm.
I don't think he said anything for Fiala other than, yeah, you need
No,
to
he did
speed
not.
your shit up. Things are about to
Hmm.
like get hot.
Yeah.
Because fun fact,
Uh,
he hate. I think so that's a good question. Which one he would hate more? No, he still probably hates Rianne way more. It's just that he hates what Fiala is rather than her personally.
I gotcha. Says I have not been told much when it comes to exact numbers, other than it needs to be sped up. Apparently, things are about to. Well, the other shoe is dangling and more likely going to be dropping soon. That is all I've been told. He's quite a character.
I will out edge everyone.
Dan, yeah. Daniel will just kind of like taking a breath. All right. Best case scenario, let's assume we have half a year. Worst case scenario, let's assume we have perhaps 2 months.
Mm. Mm.
All right. I'll pass this along during the meeting.
Mm.
Whatever plans we will need to set them in motion. We can't. We won't. I don't think we'll have time to perfect them any more than we have.
Of course, sir. Command me and it shall be done.
Well, as the
We
meeting
will
kind
get
of
to
gets.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, so Daniel just dismisses her after
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as the meeting gets started, you're all kind of like gathered there. Um, Dorian will kind of like speak out first and says, "There's good news. There's bad news. The good news is I've managed to establish quite a comfortable spy network within House Charybdis's sphere of influence, uh, mostly throughout their cities, but I do have a couple of reliable informants inside their actual laboratories. That last part, he does like grimace a bit, like whatever he heard is not something that's really pleasant. Grossed even him out. So, whenever you want to call upon those agents, we may use them once before they get burned.
Without control over the spaceport, firmly established. I can have some of my more of my men brought in. Smugglers I trust.
Dorian continues this as well. The bad news is that I did lose contact with my last man inside House Draco 3 months ago, and I couldn't really be able to establish anything new. My spies tend to hit blocks or die, or other unfortunate accidents happen to them. It seems that they've wisened up, shut down on most of my avenues, which at the same time means that I have no news of Peter. My guess is that he's still alive, but how long, I don't know. I also don't like the fact that they've increased their military might, purchased a lot of weapons, training soldiers more and more. I even hear rumors that there might be recalling mercenary troops that they have lent to other houses back home.
If I may, my lords, the which my employ has recently been informed. Apparently, our timetable is moving up. He was informed by, I suppose you can call him our most personable member of this little conspiracy, the Red Demon. He did not give an exact time frame, but from what has been gathered, things are going to happen soon.
I'll say
Decide to place again.
there's visibly all the Nixes are visibly upset the fact that yet another break-in has happened, and they were more or less unaware of it.
Yeah. Daniel nods at that. If I would have to make a guess, it will be within the year. If I had to be pessimistic, I'd say we may have just a few months to prepare, maybe even less. So, whatever actions we have, whatever plans we're making, we need to put them into motion as soon as possible.
Damocles nods and says, I will, when when House Kairos arrives, I will inform Rian of this and bring her up to speed. And I'm sure she can set the Helheim boy up for whatever fate he has to benefit us. Hades kind of just leans in, looks at you, Daniel, and says, well, what about you, my lord? Any other plans you might have?
You see, Daniel will, with a nod, we have secured the spaceport. Myself and Hades controls it. Bringing in men or bringing things out will be easier, possible now. In addition, I have secured goodwill with Kiss, prevented their weapons from falling into Draco's hands, and covered for their losses. They're not a part of this conspiracy by any means, but we have an avenue for isolating Conscriptus when the time comes.
Damocles will ask at the table as a general question. Says, do we know where House Ruvinum stands? Have we managed to glean any more information? Um, Hades does actually speak up and says, well, I haven't been focusing on that. At least from the spies inside House Charybdis, it seems that there's no real working relationships between Ruvinum or Orpheus with them.
If we can get Ravenum on our side, Orpheus will follow. I think it's an avenue that we should be looking in more closely, if at all possible.
Damocles looks at you, Scott, and then looks at you, Daniel, and says, I feel like if anyone can convince Lady Petra, it would be you. She is dangerous, and for all intents and purposes, she controls both Ruvinum and Orpheus.
What it is worth, I already have the avenues to open up discussions with her. The trade deal has proved profitable. I can use that as the edge. I can use that as the wedge point to open up a conversation.
Then we'll leave this into your hands.
Daniel nods at that.
If there's anything else anyone might want to add or ask.
Out of character, we have heard that Draco is moving. Hades said that the Draco might be moving the mercenaries on there, thinking I possibly, because I have I have some connections with smugglers in the Spacing Guild.
Yep.
Is there any way I can work on getting a more firm ETA on when we think that's happening, or if that's actually happening, or if those are just rumors?
Yeah, you could spend some time to ask around. So you can roll me I feel like this would be a communicate roll. Because Hades does know more information about the mercenaries themselves, but she doesn't know what sort of deals and when are they moving. I would say this is like a 3 difficulty roll.
All right, right. I take it a negotiation deceit to not help here.
No.
I'm using duty for this because I think duty would fit very well. My house is everything to be do with that. Would that determination
Yeah.
apply here? Because
This is pretty much a life or death situation for not just you, but your entire house.
let's go for it. A few successes.
Okay,
There we
nice.
go.
Yep. 6 months. Roughly. There might be like a month or two like fluctuation, but 6 months is the general consensus.
All right, and I assume like Daniel wouldn't be able to know that at the meeting, so Daniel would just say, "I'll canvass my contacts in the Spacing Guild, see if I can't get us a firm timetable."
No, what? Actually, I'll say for convenience sake that like you do like it wouldn't take you that much to like get some contacts, some fillers out. Like you can get everyone informed before you actually have to leave, so we don't have to have a second
Okay.
meeting where everyone's gathered here.
Yeah, all right. Then Daniel would tell them, like the last ditch meeting. Then yeah, the last moment meeting. 6 months. That's our timetable. 6 months. 6 months.
More or less, yep. As everyone will concur, and well, everyone will try and do their best. And well, if there's nothing else, I feel like you would return back to your to Heraklion. Correct.
Indeed. Yep. Get jumped by 12 face dancers.
Nah, it's fine. I'm gonna spend all the threat.
To kill Alexei You bastard.
No, no, it's way worse than that.
To
Why
kill the
kill Alexei
baby?
when I can just destroy all his hopes and dreams?
Oh no!
Um,
Don't you do it, Grunt. Don't kill the
as
player character.
as you Alexei unfortunately is that time of the month where he has to head back to his own city to handle the boring admin duty. But the rest of you return back to Heraklion, and uh, on the day of arrival, Fiala, you find a hidden note left for you in your room,
Hmm.
as it gives you an address in the city, and you recognize the coded language. It's from your sisterhood.
Oh, I think this is one where I best for Fiala not to bring anyone else.
No,
Essentially,
this is specifically you're told not to bring anyone else. Come alone and keep it a secret from everyone.
Hmm.
This
Fiala
is this
would
is order business. Nothing to do with your current assignment.
Fiala would, of course, do as she was commanded.
Of course. As you head out into the night, and you arrive to this very unassuming house, very ordinary looking. Walk inside. The room is dark as you can like pass through a clear sound barrier, and probably who knows what other countermeasures people have. As you see several hooded figures, and as you can like step to the sound barrier, one of them will kind of like look up and take the hood off, and it is none other than your revered mother, staring straight
Ah,
at you.
Mother, it is wonderful to see you as well. I am here at your command.
So you are, child. Tell me, how does your efforts against the Benedilaxu go?
It's going well. There has been a grand conspiracy to deal with this, though I'm not too sure exactly how it will come down. Apparently, things are heating up. I've been informed.
You are correct. We believe that a conflict might erupt on the planet anytime soon. I did also hear about you almost dying
Mm.
half a year ago.
Yes, yes, my lady. I was able to. The situation was dealt with
Do
the
you
help of.
understand the value of your life, child?
In
You
regards to my
understand that
mission, I understand.
you are above these petty nobles, and well, we serve a much grander purpose. You do realize that.
Of course, my lady. Of course.
Please do value your life more next time. I feel that you got caught unawares because your head is not, well, not where it should be. Don't forget, only animals follow instincts.
Of course. I've not forgotten.
I have prepared your assignment after this war, if you can call it that, is over. And I think it's time to inform you now as preparations are being made, and when the time comes, you will have to move quickly and quietly. We have finally found a suitable partner for you if he proves himself.
A, a suitable partner, ma'am.
Yes, not some lowly noble that you seem to have gotten stuck to. Something that serves the greater purpose.
Will this partner require a simple dalliance, and that is all?
You'll have to bear his child. I don't think he is one for marrying, although honestly, as I do believe you must put up a bit with his sadistic nature. He is
May I
easily
ask?
manipulated. You should be able to control him. I think he would be much more useful to us than fish harvesters.
Uh, may I ask who this man is?
Fairly certain you are familiar with the name the Red Demon, leader of the house
Lamau.
Vala.
I'm
If
aware.
he fulfills his promise to us, delivering the planet and preventing the Benetalaxu from wreaking havoc, I think his violent nature and strong abilities will be a useful asset to us in the future.
Mother, is he aware of this possibility?
Yes, he requested for you personally.
I see. Very well. If it's just a simple dalliance, then I understand, and I will do as I am commanded.
A simple dalliance. Who do you think I would rather have under our control? A no-name boy with the ability to get me fish from the ocean, or one of the most powerful assassins in the universe? You will stay with him and manipulate him. We will use him for our benefits. Not just him, but his entire house will be a great asset to our schemes in the future. You will make sure that he will fall under your control. If you must, you will do whatever you must for that.
I understand.
How is Fiala feeling at this moment?
Fiala is not showing, but she is rightly terrified. Not necessarily of this, because she always knew this is going to be a situation that would pop up, but it's not what she thought would be in the sense like the Red Demons requesting her
Yeah,
specifically.
that's a weird one.
Yeah, that's really going to be
He
a weird
also
one.
called you a
And
whore, so
yeah, he can let it go. It's fine. It's fine. It's yeah. I think
Maybe
more.
maybe he thinks he's doing Alexia a favor.
That's also could be it. He could be doing Alexi a favor. I think as well. Like Fiala is more afraid for what this means for Alexi than anything else. She's like I said, for herself, she's never known that this is never her body is never hers. Essentially,
she kind of like nods and kind of like puts her hood up and says, "We will be watching." And they'll kind of like all start walking out, leaving you alone in the room.
uh, oof, Fiala's gonna say that mantra, Gret.
Yeah. Well, and on that confusing and maybe sad note, we will end this session.